Well, hello and welcome to All Things Ayahuasca. In this podcast, we dive deep into plant medicine, and today we're going to be exploring purging. Good morning, Michael. How are you today?
Pretty good. Happy days.
Well, today we're going to talk about purging because I think it's one thing that people are really concerned about, or they've got images or they've heard about, oh, I'm going to vomit. But there's a difference between vomiting and purging, right? Can you talk about that?
Yeah. Or so, uh, first of all, uh, we have a lot of connotations around the vomiting things and purging, and really there are two different things altogether. So when we're coming to the ceremonial work, we have to separate what we think we know because we're learning something new when we get into this type of work. And when we think about vomit, generally speaking, it's utterly, mostly 95% of the time, a physical response to an issue that we may have in the gut. We had something pretty bad, we have gastro, the gut need to expel something within itself that shouldn't be there, right? And that's what we know about vomit. And it's extremely nauseating, it's feel awful, we just don't want to do it. And, it's something that we have a strong aversion with from a good reason. Also, we may have kind of connotation from, uh, alcohol consumption. When you feel awful, you overdo the drinking, and people going through this awful experience of vomiting and going crazy, and that's not great. So that's what we know, generally speaking, about vomit, right?
Yeah.
However, you know, when we getting into this type of work, we're calling it a purge, and a purge has a different level. The purge is something that we release deeply from within our being. Our, not only the physical body, rather it could express itself in various forms. So it's something that we need to expel from within our physicality, and it could hold any type of emotional blockage, general blockage in general, and it's some type of resistance that we may have had for many, many years. It could be a whole range of issues that we held within our body, and we want to the medicine help us to release out of our system. This is uh, on a really basic form when we talking about a purge.
Yeah, I think one point about that is just how physical the medicine is. We've touched on this before, but ayahuasca works in your body. So, in a number of different ways. But I think it's surprising that it's such a physical experience. So, there's
Yeah.
many physical sensations. So, the purging may be, I know for me, I have very strong physical sensations. They might be aches or they might be pains or like muscular things. That's more how my body is moving material through it as it's releasing something. So I think there are a
Definitely.
number of different ways you can be moving something through your body. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing about the medicines in general, when we looking of working with plants and ayahuasca, wachuma, even tobacco, most of the plants, first and foremost, we want to purify the body. That's why we talked about the diet before, and it's all about us purifying and clearing things throughout our physical body. Everything starts in the body because we live in a physical body right now. So if we keep holding things in the physical form, we won't be able to continue and progress in our spiritual, emotional, any type of development that we want to progress in our life because our body still holding it on. So that's what the medicine is doing. First and foremost, she wants to purify and clear our body because if we have a stagnation or a block, even if it's emotional or anything, we want to remove that from our body. Otherwise, nothing will be able to progress. You can't keep going if the body is not with you. You can be in your mind somewhere amazing, but if you don't take care of your vessel, you won't be able to keep doing it because the physicality is not there. So the manifestation in life not going to appear for you.
And as a
So
as a somatic therapist myself, I working with trauma in the body, that I think that's part of the learning of understanding how our bodies are talking to us about our trauma, and learning how to connect with our bodies better is one thing that you learn, or grandmother can help you learn. And also, I think a really common, massive teaching is a non-shaming approach to caring for the body, that she has a lot to say, and a lot, you come away a lot with understanding that I need to take care of myself so much better as part of my connection to spirit and my overall well-being and my growth, and not in a shaming way like we often have relationship with our body of, oh, I shouldn't do that, or I've got to try and stop doing that. It's really like, oh, I just don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to drink coffee anymore. I don't want to, that anti addictive aspect of it is like, it's not good for me. I just don't want it anymore.
yeah, you know, the stronger our connection to the body, we have the ability to really refine the deeper relationship that we have with our physical body. We can just be in our head, like many people are. We just, walking, talking, we being stuck in our head. But then we have that really deep somatic expression of what my body actually tells me that it needs right now. It's being available to see the subtleties that the more healthier you get, the more refined you get with your food, with your consumption. It's becoming like a very, very normal, natural state of being where why would I want to touch alcohol anymore when I know it's ruining my body, it's ruining my state of consciousness. I don't want to do it. There's no reason for me to do it whatsoever because I'm going straight to the root cause of, really feeling what my body tells me, and I'm able to notice and see, okay, I'm actually connecting to the original cause of, what I'm trying to cover up, the need that haven't been met. The medicine lift that up, it exposes it for us, and we can see. That's right. Now we can recognize that there is a need that needs to be met, and it has been met. And from that moment and on, we are able to really listen to our body because we're tuning in. We're not trying to cover up anything.
Yeah.
We're opening up to the traumas, and the trauma kind of like starting to dissolve in this way, really, because we're acknowledging it. We're not putting it somewhere in the corner. We're not trying to cover it up with alcohol or, coffee is great. It's tasty and everything. It's a great example, really, but it does give you addictive, your body is addictive to it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well said.
Or food, or other sorts of things that are covering things up. So there's what other kind of forms of purging, how else can the body purge?
So, when we look at the purge with the medicine, we know that the body have to release something. It could be, as we know, when we're doing our healing work, we have the onion layers, and we have to peel layer after layer after layer. And every time we will be exposed to the most superficial thing that is available for us to release, generally speaking. So, for example, we don't have to go all the way to the most, intense traumas that we had in our life. We can start with something that is happening to us in our life in the last year or so. We have to process something. It could be just a general stress that we're holding within our body from dealing with life, doing all these things that we have to work with, like going to work because this is life at the moment on planet Earth. We have all these responsibilities, things that are, like we're holding them on like an emotional backpack, which could be really heavy. It doesn't have to be like really far away. It can be just life, and we're still holding it on. So it's whatever we hold on. And eventually the medicine help us to recognize that we don't need it anymore. We can let that part go within ourselves. So it's a learning curve, and learning how to let go, and letting go is a practice. We can't just let go straight away. And we can start with one type of purge, which would be the most superficial. It's letting go of whatever I don't need anymore in my life. It could be just that initial stress, and it may come up in this way. Purge has many faces as well, but let's talk about that specific purge of physical, uh, so-called vomit, that something come out of from our gut. And initially, it's look like a lot of things may come out, but many times there's like really small substance, but the sounds and the feeling of whatever comes out feels huge. It can feel gigantic as a chunk of things coming out. And later on in the morning, you wake up and it's kind of like there's nothing in the bucket. There's a couple of stains or something like that. And this is 90% energetic. Saying that, there's a lot of physical things as well, because the physicality is intertwined, uh, you know, with
Yeah,
our
so there
emotional
is that
feelings.
kind of physical vomiting thing where you're hearing and you may be doing that yourself. But it's so amazing to me that, yes, we're not really eating much beforehand, but there isn't the smell of vomit. I think people like, oh, I'm going to be in a room.
Yeah,
It doesn't smell.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
really amazing. And like you say, like it feels like a huge amount, but sometimes it's very little. But energetically, what's been removed is huge. And I've heard some people say they can see that shame, or they can see that thing actually coming out of them, and there's amazing satisfaction about, oh, I've just really felt that really being removed out of me, that shame or that trauma or whatever you've been processing in that moment.
yeah.
Pretty amazing.
For me as a healer, I'm like, for me, it's the most amazing thing, just to hear that a deep release. For me, it's like an orchestra, when all the angels are just like cheering at the background. And finally, after 20 years of holding on to these things as hard as you can, suddenly there is this amazing release, and you just really can sense and see. Sometimes I can really see what exactly, many times, what really coming up, and what is the release, and the amazingness of that transmutation. This is the essence of what does it mean to transmute. So I'm transmuting all my issues. I'm transmuting everything. I'm putting it to a form of energetic pocket, and then we're releasing it out of my physicality. And this is stunning. This is amazing, to
And
see
you can
those
actually
things.
see,
Yeah,
you can actually see that. You can see the material, like
yeah.
visually. That's amazing.
See, you can see things in a different form. Everyone's seeing a different way. I just can see those things somehow.
Yeah. And I think that's why people,
Album, it just happens.
it's phenomenal. I think that's why people talk about it's 10 years of therapy, because of how much can be released that we can't tolerate in normal day-to-day life, in normal day-to-day
Mhm.
therapy, because the things that are holding it in, the defenses and the protections, are so strong normally. So that's why people refer to this as like doing 10 years of therapy in a session. What other
Yeah.
kinds of ways can we be releasing, like sounds or movements?
I'm just going to go back slightly in terms of, because there are actual uh, also physical things that needs to come out
Yeah.
in the body as well, and the medicine is amazing for that too. And
Like what?
so yes, it's not like a food smell when things comes out, but in our physicality, the medicine is able to clear out heavy metals and toxins, which are intertwined with parasites as well. So the parasitic consciousness, it's something that is really big. It can be a whole chapter, but this is something that is really important to release as well from the system. And she will be able to do that as well. So she will attack on those parasites, which are intertwined with the etheric spiritual parts as well. And that will be able to come out. Sometimes the deeper your diet is and your preparation, and sometimes in a dieta form, when we have a longer processes rather than just a weekend retreat or 2-3 days retreat, in the longer ones, we're able to release much deeper parts of our physicality. For example, you can release gallstones or physical things that are stuck in your system. That's why we are recommending to have like a really good diet beforehand and really go as deep as we can. So that's one of the reasons. And we have other type of forms. We have other types of purging as well, which is we can purge in many ways. Sometimes our mind can go really, really, really fast, and it will be seemingly unrelated thoughts. And this, there is a strong sense of disconnection from the thought and the ceremonies, and we kind of like can get out of our head. But the head is just going in 120 k's per hours, and that's a type of purging because our mind in our daily life is overdoing it. So that's a mind purge. We can also have a different physical movements that the body needs to release. It can be different hand movements that the hand just need to release blockages in the joints, or different type of traumas that the body can start and shake. So that's a natural way of the body just to release the trauma. So we're just gonna remove the trauma. The body just naturally, we're just letting the medicine do what you need to do, and the body will just release with the shaking. It can release the whole body just with one hand movement, for example. Um, it can be a general sweats, a lot of sweats or hot or cold flashes. Suddenly you can shiver. 2 minutes later, you're sweating. So all the pores opening up and you suddenly sweat and things are coming out of your skin. Very physical, emotional, hormonal. It's all intertwined.
Yawning. You've often talked about yawning and crying.
Yeah. Then we have the aspect of just a major physical energetic shift. So we can yawn in a really different kind of a way, almost as if we're swallowing something and the jaw is dislocated, and it's really opening up all the different facets of our brain, and the different bones that are comprised of our skulls can open up. We can have snot, clear snot coming out, which is an inflammation. A lot of inflammation can come out from the nose. I see it as an inflammation from the brain. So it's really clearing out the channels in the brain. At the back of the neck here, where the vagus nerve goes, can really feel like shifts and things are moving. That's why the head, we can do like strange head movement and different somatic expression to release the traumas and really allow the vagus nerve coming back to where it's need to be.
And going to the toilet in different ways.
Oh yeah, of course. And obviously, yeah, so that's the obvious one. And then we have to go to the toilet and have the runs and flush from that way as well, which is more of the lower intestines, large intestine, and that part as well. And that will lead to the original things that I was saying about parasites and different issues that we may have.
I think the context of purging in your ceremony is really helpful. If something is happening that's uncomfortable, that's the medicine releasing that stuff. So if it's, an uncomfortable where my mind is at, or an uncomfortable emotion, or if you're going through something really difficult, it's like, great, this is what is being worked on. This is what is being released. So I want to really, like, instead of resist that, go, if it's something horrible, like, great, this is was one that this is what is being purged. This is what is being released from me. And if that's connected to your intention of I want to release everything in the way of my success, or of my what's in the way of my happy relationship, or what's what's blocking my creativity, then this stuff is moving. You go, great, this is completely connected to my intention. So it can help you really kind of be softer with a discomfort, to go, it can look forward to it, or be happy in some way, of like feel just encouraging of, great, this stuff is moving.
Yeah. This is all about that, really, what we want to do. This is the shadow work. This is going into the places that are uncomfortable. It's expressing itself through the body. So that's the shadow supposedly expressing itself in the body, which is the lower intestines. This is the discomfort. Naturally, many times we have an aversion from dealing with things, from discomfort. Western society is a bit like that. We need to learn to have a look and be comfortable with the uncomfortable, and know that this is part of life. We have to look at those things within ourselves. There's nothing else that you can do about it. This is it. And the more we recognizing that that we have to have a look at those things. I'm going into my pain. This is the portal.
Yeah.
This is the portal of transmutation, of transformation. We have to go straight into the pain. I mean, not only I need to be comfortable with it, I'm going all the way into it. I'm just like, physically, I'm just going into it, and it's becoming so uncomfortable until it's dissolved completely. And from underneath that, we will see the jewel that arise out of the shadow, where we are resurrecting ourselves like the phoenix rising up from the ashes of pain and sorrow and all these things. And suddenly we can waking up to the true reality of who we are and how we held ourselves all these years and years and years. And suddenly we can recognize that it wasn't too bad, and it's okay to deal with our stuff.
And similarly, emotionally, it's like, because you can't really get away for the period of the journey. You can't get away, and you're being taken to from the discomfort, and she takes you to pain, whether it's like emotional pain as well. So you can really feel the depth of grief or the depth of emotional pain that you can't really bear outside of that. And yeah, the kind of, I think that's where the love starts pouring in. You can just feel so deep, that incredible love from grandmother, from creation, from life pouring in, and that sense of connection comes with that.
Yeah. Look, um, basically, you can run away from it. That's the thing, because the human mind is so strong, really. And it's a bit of a thing. So you want to be really ready. That's why we're talking about it in this way, to allow yourself to be ready. However, if your mind is not going to be set in the right way, you won't go there, because your resistance is still going to be there, and you're still going to be afraid. And the medicine, as strong as she is, she won't be able to crack open those resistances and shield, because you don't want to do it. So you want to have that. That's how the medicine works, right? She's not gonna, rip you apart if you don't want to do it. She's kind, she's loving, she's amazing, but she's not gonna do it. So you need to have a sense of readiness and willingness a little bit in there somewhere to be able to shift and open. Otherwise, it's not gonna happen. And I've seen it happen in, well, many, many times. And that's why we're coming up with these ways of communicating and sharing the wisdom and the teachings, because people can bypass those issues really easily and contemplate just on singing happy lala songs and pretend that nothing is there. And you can do it really easily, really quickly with the medicine, let's be honest, and shift yourself above that situation and put it aside. You could do that.
But I think that's also why it, like, preparing, and I think having sessions or preparation, or being in therapy, being in some kind of ideally somatic based, body based therapy, connecting to your
That's
trauma
it.
before you come to a ceremony, not going, oh, all I have to do is just do this and that's going to do everything for me. I have a
That's it.
relationship with my content. I'm working with it beforehand. So I've already got some connection, and then I can go so much further in a ceremony. And then for integration, which we'll be talking about next time, that you've got a place to, because you continue purging after, right? The ceremony finishes, but you're still releasing. And sometimes you go home. A friend of mine did a ceremony recently, and completely tidied and cleaned and purged her house, and the energy to do it, it's so beautiful. So the purging continues, whether it's emotional or physical or cleaning up things. So having that support afterwards, so you're really participating in a way that's sort of best for you with the medicine.
Yeah.
Next time we're going to be talking about integration, which is another really important topic. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions about any aspect of plant medicine, if you put them in the comments, we'd really love to include that into a following episode. And we look forward to seeing you next time talking about integration. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, guys. It was awesome. See you soon. Bless.